How's it going, everyone? Moodog from Moodog's Frugal RCs and more in the research kitchen today with another 16 scale military vehicle. Very high detail on this one as well, guys. Today we're going to be having a look at the Jjrc Q61. This is, again, a 1/16 scale, 2.4 gigahertz, four-wheel drive, off-road military truck. They're calling this one the Transporter 2. Now, they use these vehicles in real life back in, I believe, World War II, maybe even into the Korean War era. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I believe these were troop transporters as well as kind of utility haulers. But I thought it was really cool. I got this one today in the Army Green, the olive drab color, and it's just a really cool vehicle. Very nice to get these and do the modifications on them. You can do some paint detailing if you wanted to make them look weathered. I mean, the list goes on and on. So if you guys are out there and you like tinkering with stuff, perfect platform. It's also a good platform for somebody that maybe is looking for a first RC vehicle, or maybe a kid for a kid's birthday. These come in at right around $30 to $45. I've seen them sometimes even cheaper if you are willing to wait the 1 month plus ordering from GearBest or Banggood. Without any further ado, let's take a look at the box real quick, guys. They're claiming this one for ages 8 plus. They're showing a picture of the transmitter on the front, little war scene in the background there. Let's go ahead and pop this over on its end. On a side, I should say. Now, they're claiming that this has a loading capacity of about 500 grams. We're dealing with a concealed battery on here, inclined plane differential. I mentioned before, I think I did, four-wheel drive. This one has shock absorbers. The shock absorbers are going to be like leaf springs, and I'll show you those in a second. And then a speed conversion mode on here, and we'll go through that as soon as we get this out on the table here. Nothing really on the sides of the box here, guys. This one here is kind of showing the concealed battery and then the loading capacity claim on there. The bottom of the box is just basically going to be your warning information, and it's going to give you some more information about the model number and color, and then the Jjrc website. Pretty much standard for these guys is going to be your owner's manual. Now, Jjrc are pretty frugal with their owner's manuals, it looks like, in this case anyway. We have a kind of small pocket-sized manual here, and this is for the Q series military trucks. It's giving you some information on knowing your transporter, all the parts, different part names, that type of thing. Not necessarily parts, but what they're calling certain components on here. You and the contents of the box, contents, and then you have your accessories on here as well. So pretty cool that they're going through the detail here. The pictures look nice, nothing looks smudgy or weird. Jjrc does a good job in their Chinese to English translation, giving you information about the remote control, putting the batteries into the remote. You're going to have to supply your own batteries for this remote, even though they're calling it a ready to run. That's just kind of, I've come to expect that. Battery instructions, stuff like that on here. Basic operating instructions. So it goes into some pretty good detail on this, guys. And you have your kind of cool artwork in the back here as well. And then you have basic troubleshooting information on the back, and thanking you for purchasing their product. Jjrc is a good company to deal with, and parts are readily available for this vehicle, and also hop up and upgrade parts as well. So there's some metal part choices that you can make on here as well. Now, this is just a little kind of addendum here. It's about I think it's advertising a game here, how to play a certain game. I don't know. It must be some partnership with Jjrc. This one's going to run on a NiCad battery pack. This is a 5-cell, kind of a pyramid stack battery here, 600 milliamp per hour, 6 volt. With your standard toy kind of connector on here. And I'll go ahead and set that aside. It's also going to come with, again, we're seeing a lot of these, your USB charger. This is going to have an output of 6 volts at 250 milliamp per hour. So we're looking at probably about 180 or so minutes maybe to charge this battery from completely spent. Seeing a lot of these, and you know how I feel about those. I like those. You're getting a little screwdriver here, and I'm going to go ahead and assume that's for removing the screw that's on the bottom of the battery hatch here on the remote. The remote's nothing to write home about, guys. This one is very plasticky feeling. You have a fake antenna up on top here, your on and off switch right here. This vehicle is non-proportional, so it's all or nothing as far as the throttle and as far as the steering, but you do have a multiple speed switch here, so you have a low speed range and a high speed range. Essentially what that is kind of a voltage tap, I guess you could call it, where in the slow mode you're running at about 50% of the capacity, voltage capacity, and then by pushing this button you're going to be able to get the full speed range on it. As mentioned before, this is going to require some batteries here, and we do have a screwdriver included in this kit. Very, very small screwdriver, but it is included, and that's kind of nice that they do that. So go ahead and remove that screw, and we can see that this one is going to require 2 AA batteries to get up and running, and that is pretty much the whole deal here as far as what comes inside the box. Now the truck itself, guys, again, a very high detail vehicle here, guys, and I already made some modifications to this, but I will tell you that my initial impressions on it as far as performance went were a little bit lackluster. Keeping in mind though that this thing is about 30 bucks, so you're not spending a whole bunch of money on it. All right, guys, the attention to detail on this thing is pretty astounding. It's even more detailed, I think, than the first military vehicle I have on my channel. This one, you can see the grill work is actually painted, so we have silver painted and black on the grill. We have black light cans on here. These are working LEDs in the front. The toe rings on here are going to be just molded into the plastic. We can see on the side here, if we look, these doors actually do open to reveal some detail on the inside. And I don't know if you'll be able to see that or not, but that is pretty decently detailed. There's a stick shift in there and basic army looking upholstery. We have side view mirrors on here that are made of rubber, so they're not going to get damaged if you were to run into something with this. The back gate on here does in fact open, so you can put whatever you wanted to put inside here. They're claiming up to 500 grams. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I've seen people do reviews on these and say it's actually more that you can transport in here, so kind of nice there. This door actually opens as well. And you can see in the back here I've actually extended the antenna, and I'll go through the upgrades on here on a later video, but I just wanted to kind of show you guys what you can expect if you were to purchase one of these. You have 2 gas tanks, one on either side here, and then one on this side right here. Very nicely detailed. I actually moved the power switch onto the side here from underneath just because I have different electronics in here. If we flip the truck over on the bottom side here, guys, you can see very highly detailed undercarriage on here as well. We have a central transfer case here, and then our drive shafts going out to differentials here. So the diffs are, everything is made of plastic here, guys, but you can get metal differentials and axles for this vehicle, as well as I believe metal diff gears for it, so kind of cool there. We're looking at some decent tires, not too grippy, not too terribly hard either. This is made for more kind of entry-level stuff. You're not going to be doing any major climbs with this thing the way it's set up now, and I don't know that you'd be able to really get this thing in a situation as it sits now to do anything like that. I mean, you could do upgrades on it and get it to operate better, which I already have done, but you're still, you know, dealing with what you're dealing with. And you can see on here, I mentioned before, we have leaf springs. So the leaf spring suspension is very realistic when you're filming or when you're looking at it from the side. Not a lot of suspension travel. It's not meant to have a lot of. It's going to be more kind of load correcting type of suspension on here. But very nicely done on here, guys. I like this a lot. I'm using, as I mentioned, different electronics in here. So I do have a different speed controller in here. I do have a different servo in here as well. And I'll show you that on a later video. But I think for the money that you're spending on this, if you're looking for a toy for a child, if you guys are like me and have multiple RC vehicles and you're just looking to add something to your collection that you might want to do some really cool upgrades to, this is going to work perfectly for that reason. Very nicely made. Again, we're looking at a toy grade vehicle, but it's toy grade in the construction and the motor and the servo motor that comes with it, but it is very much upgradable to be more hobby type. And that pretty much concludes the rig rundown of the Jjrc Q61. What you're seeing in front of you guys, I think it represents a pretty good value for a couple different reasons. First of all, it's so inexpensive that it'd make a great gift for a kid's birthday or for whatever reason. And still inexpensive enough to get into the hobby a little bit deeper. And when I say deeper, I'm talking about doing upgrades on electronics. I'm talking about doing some paint work and having a really nice platform to start that on. Now, there's other vehicles out there by Tamiya and a couple other companies that can run you in the hundreds of dollars in some cases. And I think those are great vehicles as well. And I wouldn't rule out having one on the channel sometime in the future. But we're looking at here is a nice high detail scale vehicle, and for those of us that are kind of on the frugal end of things and kind of trying to pinch pennies but still have fun with the hobby, I think this is going to be a great choice. That's pretty much it. We'll see you all in the next one, and God bless the Republic.